everyone, welcome to Brown Queen Diaries. I'm your host Priyanka and today we are going to talk about entertainment and entertainment. Our guest here has started her career in entertainment industry from beauty pageants and now holds her own production house. So let's welcome Anita Prasad from House of Entertainment. Welcome to the show. How are you, Anita?
I'm good, Pri. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming in. It is a pleasure.
And thanks for having me on this show.
No problem. So let's begin. For our audience sake, who is Anita Prasad?
Okay, I am born in Fiji, raised in Fiji, and then back in Fiji, I used to work in a television company called Fiji Television. So I literally got my breakthrough from there to begin with. And then my parents, my family, we all migrated to New Zealand, lived in New Zealand for over like 15, 16 years. And then after that, I moved to Melbourne. So I only moved to Melbourne to chase a dream that we're going to be talking about later in the show.
Awesome. So what led you to basically what inspired you to go into the entertainment field?
Okay, so basically to start with, by profession, I'm an accountant, right? So that is my Monday to Friday job that I do. That's my profession and I live with that profession. And that is something that I will never gonna let go, right? And apart from that, when I was in New Zealand, I used to take part in a beauty pageant. And then later I was owning a beauty pageant. So literally that's how my journey started.
Yeah.
So in 20s, I represented New Zealand in a beauty pageant called United Nations Tourism, and I represented New Zealand in Kingston, Jamaica, where I competed with 22 countries. So within that pageant, like I got, I was not the winner of the crown, however, I was the winner of the People's Choice Ambassador. So through that, I got my breakthrough, and then we had our catwalk and modeling coaching sessions in Los Angeles in America. And then we were on our stopover to Miami, which is like approximately 1.5 hour flight to Jamaica. So while we were there at our stopover, we had a music video that was coming up, and it was for one of the Hollywood singer and a rapper called Shaggy. Shaggy. Yeah, he's a reggaeton person. Okay. So I was inspired. Every contestant of this beauty pageant was part of that music video. And I was so ready to go on the set. However, I had a visa restriction because my visa was I can't walk in while I'm traveling because I was on a limited visa.
Shame.
So that was something that literally broke my heart because I had a very good opportunity right in front of me, but I couldn't take part in that because of my limitations. So when I was there, I asked the producer and the person, like the beauty pageant director who was there, and I was like, I want to do this. How can I do this? I want to be in a part of a music video. And then he goes to me, okay, go back to your country, release a content, and then we will consider.
Okay.
So I came back to New Zealand and I was like Monday to Friday, I was working on my normal accountancy job. And then in the back end, I was always going to a singing school. So it was called ABC Studio, which is in Auckland. And I learned my singing, like as an accountant, I never thought that I could ever sing in my life, right? So I was always kind of like, okay, this is something I'm not born with. But then I wanted to know, you know how we call sa re ga ma, you know? So I literally wanted to learn those tones.
Oh, okay.
So I went to this singing studio. I wrote my own song and then I released my song. Right. And to be honest, to release the song, it came with a lots of critics. Like when I first told my friends, when I told my family, I wanna compose, I have composed a song, I want to release a song, and then everybody goes like, oh, you're not a singer, you don't know how to sing and you want to do this, you know? So it was always someone, somehow or the other who always put me down, oh, you can't sing, you can't do this, you can't do that. But for me, I'm a very courageous person. If somebody says no to me, I will deliberately gonna do the shit that I have to do. So that's me, right? So,
that's a go-to attitude, isn't
yeah,
it?
so for me, I can't take anything for rejection because my mentality is like nothing is impossible.
Right.
So I wrote my song. I did a Google search on every composing company in Auckland. And then I found 3 of them. And then now the biggest challenge was every composing company I go to, because New Zealand is a small market. We don't have much when it comes to entertainment industry. So the price of composing a song or doing a music video, it was always high.
Right.
So I was saving like literally every little money just to get this song out there. And then eventually I got my song released from one of these company. It was a composing company, like the director of the company was Marshall Smith. I clearly remember that person because he was very kind to me and he gave me that breakthrough. So through that, I now composed my song. And after composing a song to do a music video, it was everywhere I go to, they charged me like 10,000, 12,000 just to make a music video. And I didn't have that much of money. So I was literally heartbroken. Like I couldn't get it through. So it took me 3 years just to get one music video done and released. So now that when my music video got released, right? Firstly, a very massive shout out to the KISS FM in New Zealand. They are the very first people who played my song on their radio.
Lovely.
And just because KISS FM played my song on the radio, it's one of the biggest English FM studio or radio in New Zealand. Just because they played it, then there was another radio that's RFM, so they played it. And just because they played it, it got played in Fiji. Like I'm born and raised in Fiji, so there was the FM 96, they played it. And then Fiji, I went to Fiji for the radio interview, TV interview, so it had a breakthrough from there.
Okay.
And then later on, my song got played in one of a TV channel show. It was called Filthy Rich. For 2 seasons, they played my song and I got my royalties and everything. So it was a very inspiring thing because everybody was thinking that I couldn't do it, but eventually I did it. And apart from that, like I was nominated for an international artist on New Zealand music video as well as in Fiji. And I got an award by Face of Beauty in New Zealand for being an emerging artist. So it was just a mini journey where it all started from.
Right, okay. So basically your journey is very interesting, right? You started your career as a model and then you went into music, you did your own song, and then right now you own your own production house as well.
Yes.
So let's talk about your production house. What were some of those challenges to set that up? Like, you know, setting up production house means that it comes with a lot of responsibilities and you have to have some goals, some projects in line, and obviously there's financial parts. That's all part of it. So tell us some challenges and how you overcame them.
Okay, to start with, so back in Fiji, I was working in a television company. So there was a show that was called Music Masti. So I was literally one of a producer of the show. It's not that I was a producer. It's just that I was helping. I was in a finance team, but I was just helping it through, right? So always at the back of my head, I always wanted to produce my own content. So when I came to New Zealand, when I did my music video, I had a struggle itself. And the biggest struggle was finances, right? And then everywhere I go, just because I released my music video, people started demanding me more money. And literally, finances wise, I was unable to save that much of money. But I always had a dream to do my own production company. So it took me 14 years to build House of Entertainment. So within these 14 years, every year I have been planning. I have been planning my finance. I have been planning these are the things that I'm going to be doing. So it was not easy. And to activate my project, my production company, House of Entertainment, I sacrificed my family. I sacrificed my love life. I sacrificed my friends and my circle. So when I moved to Melbourne, I moved with a dream that I'm an achiever. I can do it. This is what I want to execute, and this is what I'm going to do. So back in New Zealand, I was, again, working as an accountant. I was sitting in a comfort zone, debt-free, living with my family. I had no issues. I was just living a life of a princess. But then I decided to drop that aside because I wanted to achieve my dream. So that's the reason when I moved to Melbourne, I moved with a 20 kg bag and nothing else, nothing with me. Just my bag, and in my 20 kg bag, I only had my certificate, my degrees, and my 5 corporate outfit, because I knew that I'm an accountant, I'm going to be wherever I'm going to be going for an interview, I have to wear my corporate outfit. So those were the only things I came with. Right?
It takes a lot of courage to
my mom
leave everything, you know, beautiful life, you know, in your country, and then come with no backup, and then a lot of dreams, right? And you said that it took 14 years to actually set it up.
Yeah, it took me solid 14 years.
Financially, you built it yourself. So it's a story of resilience, and it's a story of perseverance, I guess.
To be honest, like nobody supported me with House of Entertainment. Nobody ever wanted to hear, because every time when people hear about money, nobody wants to invest, right? And my dad was the only person who said, go achieve whatever you want. but he never thought that I will fly to Melbourne. He never thought of that. So one day,
why Melbourne?
because even when I was in Fiji, I always wanted to be in Australia, right? It was just a jackpot that my parents, we all moved to Auckland. And then I'm a triple citizen, right? So I'm from Fiji, I'm from New Zealand, and I'm from here. So it did happen when I moved to Melbourne, my cousins, my relatives, they live here. So I called one of my cousins and I said to him, I want to come, will you be able to accommodate me? And then the family was quite happy to have me. I stayed with them for 1 month, but I was well established enough that I could quickly stand up on my feet. And that's what I did. So that's how I kickstart with my life. But then again, when I moved to Melbourne, it takes a little bit to settle yourself in your career. So I did that, and exactly the same time, I registered House of Entertainment. And then it was like a settled thing. So no matter what I was doing, but at the back of my mind, I was always working. I was always working on something, and that something was my project, House of Entertainment, a production company. I wanted to make it happen, and I eventually made it happen.
Well done on you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about equality. Does it exist in the entertainment world? I know it doesn't, but coming from a production house, you've been through modeling, you've been through music industry, and then you have your own production house. It is a struggle in itself, but how do you see it? Do you see any gender bias or racial bias in this industry?
To be honest, there are two things. One is equality, and then one is the racial bias or gender, because equality comes with gender. But to be honest with me, I got supported by males. Right? Say, for example, when I was in Fiji, my television career started. I had a professional mentor who was a man. Right? So Mr. Patel, he's currently the director of FBC television in Fiji, who has given me the breakout. So from the time I met him, I call him father. So he was my father who has helped me, right? So when I moved to New Zealand, when I was composing my song, right, it was my music teacher was a man. And he knew that I couldn't sing, but he was helping me out to sing. So I didn't even have a problem with that. Because the thing is, I am coming from countries where equality is born with itself, right? So from the time, back in Fiji, girls, we were always encouraged. We were always encouraged to be independent, right? It is true that in a professional world, yes, we do come across equality situation. But for me, when I was in a production side, I didn't even face that challenge at all. Even in New Zealand, when my music video was released, the director itself was a male, right? It was a white guy. He literally helped me to get my music video done. And then when I moved to Melbourne, my current reality talk show, which is Love Chit Chat with Anita, it is again been supported by a man. He's a famous director like Sandeep Raj. So basically where I've been to a production side, it was always a man who have directed it. I being a female producer, but a producer cannot never finalize a content without a director. So producers and directors, they work hand in hand. And in my case, all the hand was a man's hand. So it was a male and a female combination together. But then again, it is quite challenging because it depends how you talk, how you approach, how you get the content on the table. So that's how, if you're gonna be very bold and brave, so nobody will ever gonna muck around with you. So that's how it is. But when it comes to equality in a professional level, for me being an accountant, and in my previous job, I was a leader, I was leading a team of 7. And that was quite challenging when it comes to equality. Because in that kind of a leadership role, if a man, and especially if a male who is senior than you, who's elder than you, if you become their boss and you tell them or mentor them or direct them what to do, to be honest, nobody will take you seriously. So for me, professionally, yes, I did face some challenges with equality where you don't been heard or been serious about. But when it comes to production side, it has worked well hand in hand with me.
Do you think that in this industry, there are equal number of female directors or female producers as many as male? Because no, right? There is always
so
there
it
is
is
a difference.
Basically, I think it's about who you are and what you want to achieve as a producer or a director, right? So in my perspective, to run a production company, it comes with lots of finances. That's one thing.
We're talking about, equality, but then are there enough representation from for directors and producers who are females at the moment in the industry?
To be honest, I personally feel that there is a gap. There's a gap between a female producers and a male producers in this industry. But nevertheless, it is like always, we can always there are women out there who wants to invest in this area. There's so many people out there with so many talents that they could bring on table. So I would say at this stage, there's a lots of opportunity to grow. So it's like the more women get supported into this industry, it will be balanced. At this stage, there's a room to improve. So everybody, even for yourself, example, you have got so many talents, right? And then it's about gradually lifting those talents. So I would say to all the women out there, never limit yourself. If you have got something that is interesting and inspiring, work towards it, produce your content. You don't know where you're gonna end up. Sometimes it is successful. And this is how, it's a baby step. Take one step at a time, and then you will definitely gonna get there.
That's awesome. So in terms of your support system, we were initially talking about your support system, and you travel different places, and how your family also supported you, your father supported you, right? So who are those people? We need to be supported by the right people. So how do you choose your inner circle?
Okay, so I am very cautious when it comes to make friends or connect with people or do business with. So my life is just like a chess. So even if I play any step, even I make any move, I think twice. I always think both the pros and the cons, what is good, what is bad, right? Say for example, in the production industry, I always think about whom I want to communicate with, what benefit it brings on the table. I always want a win-win situation, because out there, believe me or not, out there are so many people who just want to get famous, right? There are so many people who just wants to be out there and get things done, but they just need a backbone just to use people around. So this is something you have to be very focused on and very cautious of whom you deal with. Right? So for me, every time when I talk to a person, I always prefer to have a face-to-face conversation. Whenever it comes to business, whenever it comes to finances, I always prefer to have a face-to-face conversation. And there are a few tips for me, personally, when I talk to a person, I would like to know the eye contact. Eye contacts tell me a total true story. If a person, when they're talking to you and they just flip the words or and if it's kind of a distraction, you will quickly know this person is not interested. They're just here for the sake of it. So you have to make sure that you're understanding that you're communicating with the right person. And there's one more thing I always do. Before catching up with a person, whether it's professional or personal, I always do a search on that person first. And my search will be, I'll go on LinkedIn. It's not about stalking anybody. It's nothing like that. I'll go to LinkedIn. Yeah, I will go to their socials. And if any mutual friends that I know that they know this person, I always take some feedbacks. What kind of a person that is have got a good reputation or not. And it is nothing bad to do that, because you want to protect your interest. That's very important. So for me, any decision I make, I always choose my circle. I always prefer to have a small circle, but a genuine circle, something which is compatible, people that you can work with, who is easy to talk to. So those are your people. And it is very important you make friends with people who have got mutual interest. Say, if you don't have a mutual interest with a person, there's always going to be a conflict of interest. And you don't want any conflict of interest, because everybody wants to live a peaceful life. Nobody wants any dramas. You don't want to get any chaos that happens and they just go okay, this is not something I was planning for. So it is very important to hang out with a circle which have got a mutual interest. Somebody who supports you, not that somebody who brings you down. You don't want that. So that's how I choose.
That's cool. So jealousy and inspiration, what do you think is the difference?
Jealousy is a sickness that will never leave a person. So that is something that an individual should never feed into your head, because the minute you start thinking about jealousy, you have actually ruined your entire life. As simple as that. There's nothing called jealousy. It's always either inspiration, you get moved by someone, or it's a collaboration, right? Say a very good example, Bollywood, right? A song gets released in Bollywood, right? And then it's the entire world. It's the entire world who will look at that song, and then everybody will make their own videos. Why? Because we all are inspired, we are moved by that. But then again, say for example, if I make a video and then you copied my video, that is not jealousy. That is me being inspired by you, or you being inspired by me. We all are moved by each other. So it is either inspiration, or whether it's a collaboration, or we do it together. So people who think of jealousy, please refrain using that word, because once you start feeding the word jealousy, you are just putting yourself in a corner of limitation. And once you go into that corner of limitation, trust me, you have ended all of your goals, you have ruined your relationships, you have ruined your circle and everything. Always focus on progress, climbing up the stairs. And there's only two ways of doing it: inspiration and collaboration. So put that word jealousy aside, it doesn't exist.
So you're suggesting that not to be jealous, but
No.
instead be inspired and collaborate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So jealousy should never be a word. It's always collaboration or inspiration or motivation.
Any currently running projects or upcoming projects that you want to share?
Yeah, so currently we are just finalized our reality talk show, which is called Love Chit Chat with Anita, season 2. So it is in its final edition, and it's going to be out soon. So we are planning on few platforms, and it will be announced shortly. So maybe just by end of this month, it's going to be announced, our release dates, etc.
All the best.
Thank you. And apart from that, we are planning to do a music video. So currently working with my favorite director, Mr. Sandeep. So we are planning on a music video, as well as also a Fiji Hindi film we want to do. Say for example, there are lots of movies that has been inspired and also in a different language, but hardly ever you will see that there's a Fiji Hindi films which is out there. So House of Entertainment, what we are currently doing, like as you know that I'm from Fiji, right? My roots are Fiji. And we hardly ever see any films which has been inspired by a Fijian root. So the key goal, that is one of the biggest projects that I'm planning to work on, and it is something that's going to be coming up later, and you will definitely know about it.
That's awesome. So you've got a lot planned up in the next year?
Yes, and even Love Chit Chat season 3 will be coming next year as well. So it's like, it's a back-to-back. So,
oh my God, you're a busy person. So you have a full-time job, and you have a production house and whatnot,
all these
right?
separate projects.
And everything's, and you also attend events and do interviews randomly as well, right? So how does your day look like? Like say on a busy day, you're doing your production work, you're doing your office work, you're doing how does it look like?
Okay, so the very good thing is that, like, when you are single, right, like I'm single, right? So when you're single, you don't have that too much commitment where you have to go and report to somebody, you've got somebody to go to home, right? I do have a sick dad with me, so I do take care of him. And then apart from that, like when I come into my personal life, it is very important for you to balance your life. And balance your life, it's basically having enough sleep. So basically when I'm at work, I'm in a work mode. So when I'm at home, I quickly switch off from my work mode to be inside my home, giving time to my parents, right? Apart from that, it is very important to balance, look into your own well-being, like your fitness. So sometimes I do juggle with that, because sometimes it does happen that you are too occupied, like every month and I get busy. So by the time you come home, you're tired, you just want to eat, you want to watch TV and then go to bed, right? But then there comes a time that at least I tell myself, I do have a timetable where I tell myself, okay, 3 days a week, do your yoga, or do your meditation, or do your Pilates, or even go to gym. At least a 10-minute or a 30-minute is important. And it is always important to have a healthy diet and drink lots of water. And apart from that, like one thing for the ladies, like I'm 30 plus, right? So a woman who's 30 plus, it is very important for you to have all the multivitamins in your body. So it is very important, even if you miss your gym or your workout, it is always important to take your supplements, because after 30, our body stops producing a lots of vitamins and minerals within our body. And being a female, we have to be cautious on our health as well. So for me, even though whether I hit the gym or I do our yoga or not, but I always take my supplements, because that helps me and keeps me going. So it's always important to have a balanced diet and switch off from your different professions. Say, for example, when I'm focusing on my project, I give my 100% to my project. Once my project is completed, like within that hour, I tell myself 2 hours, I should be just focusing on this project. After 2 hours, I change my focus to my family or do my own things. So it is very important. Like in one day, we have got 24 hours. Plan your 24 hours, you're going to be achievable.
Right.
So that's how it should be.
That's awesome.
Oh, actually, that's how I do.
Right. So, having a production house means that it's not, although it is a single person owned, it's not actually a single person driven. You need a lot of people's also, help or, support, right? So in that case, building relationships and networking is quite important. So tell us about your methods of networking and building relations.
To be honest, one thing, I don't believe in using people or getting things done for free, right? So for me, I'm a human being, I work hard, I've got a family, I've got a bill to pay. Likewise, every person that I work with, I always think of the same. They're an individual, they have got their own expenses, they've got their own life to live. So every time when I get into a business or getting my crews behind the scene, I always bundle up that package, right? So I always be in a win-win situation. I don't want to hurt anybody because when you are a businesswoman or a businessman, you have to think in a perspective what works well for your business. So in my case, I always subcontract people. But then again, I choose my subcontractors. I choose my people I want to work with. You have to maintain a good relationship with your vendors. You have to make a good relationship with your clients. And how I do this? It is through social networking. I go to events, corporate functions, and I always build my relationship through there. And it is very important, like anywhere you go to, it's not necessary for you to just open up and tell the business who you are or what you are doing, etc., etc. Try to be there, suss out your environment, your atmosphere. The right people who's meant to be with you, they will walk your way, they will come across your way. You will know that. Your instinct, your inner vibe will always tell you what is right and what is wrong. It will always tell you what kind of a people that you should be investing with or working with. So that's how it literally works for me. And for me, your gesture, like how you present yourself, how you talk to a person, and plus the eye contact and your gesture, like some people, like when you talk to them, they just turn around or put their head down or walk around or look at the other side. For me, all those things are not acceptable. A genuine person is someone who will have a good eye contact and you will know. That is a connectivity. For me, that's how I judge.
Contacting?
You slightly sound genuine. No, I'm just joking. No, it's basically, it's always like
it's
that.
It's lovely chatting with you and knowing about your journey in the entertainment biz. But before we wind up, let us give some kind of advice for aspiring women who wants to go into this entertainment industry. So what would your advice be for them?
Thank you, Pri, for actually having me on the show. It was really very nice chatting with you and knowing you behind the scene as well. Actually, one of the advice I would like to give to the ladies, to be honest, and this is something that I do myself. Even as of today, this is one of a gospel that I live with. So it is like, never stop dreaming. The day you're going to stop dreaming is the day you stop living. And a very good example is, like every year, all of us, every human being makes a resolution. Why do you even make a resolution? It is because you want to achieve your goals, right? That is a mini goal that you make and you want to achieve. So that is a dream. So it is good, make a goal, work towards it. But always remember, in order to achieve your goal, throughout the year, we have got 365 days, and then sometimes we get distracted. No matter what the distraction is, sometimes you have got your family, sometimes you have got your friends, you have got other commitments. Regardless of that, always stay focused at the back of your head. Tell yourself, promise yourself, this is what I said to myself, this is what I'm going to achieve, and do it. And trust me, never go hard on yourself either, because life is just a journey. Like, it is just like another sport where we play, we fall down, we get up, and then we start playing again. It is basically the same thing. If you fail, oh, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about you because nobody pays your bill, right? If you fall, you fail, never mind, get up again and do it again. And this is how I do. Like, nobody's perfect in this world. So it is always important. Never, ever, ever think that somebody else is superior than you. You are yourself, you're unique. You know that whatever you have, it is special. Nobody else can be Pri again. Nobody else can be Anita again. You have got something in you which is special. Likewise, every individual, they have got a talent, and that talent is hidden. So identify your talents, work towards it, and make it a goal and achieve it as a goal. Like, never get distracted. Don't. Always be structured, think straight. And this is how I say, my life is just like a chess. Make a move, think about it. And even thinking about it, think twice. Is this good for me? Is it bad for me? That's how you will achieve where you want to be. Like, I can understand it's easy to say, but sometimes it's not easy to follow. But always remember, nobody's perfect. We all are human beings, we make mistakes, we fall, we get up, and then we start going again.
But we just have to take that step forward.
Yes, yes.
Wise
it's
words.
like, never think about, okay, you can't do it. Nothing is impossible. Even the aeroplanes are made by human mind. You know, everything on this earth is possible. If we can fly from, say, Melbourne to India, right? How do you fly? That plane is even made by a human being. So nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. It's just that be focused and structured, and you will achieve. You will achieve it one day.
Lovely, and thanks for your wise words, and thanks for coming to our show and spending and sharing your journey. It was lovely chatting with you, Anita.
It was nice meeting you, Pri. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thanks to all our audience for traveling with us in this episode of Brown Queen Diaries. Until next time, stay entertained and keep shining.